What's up, everybody? My name is Anthony Parker. We have a very interesting topic for you today. And once I play my intro, I will be back with the topic at hand, which is they say that we can't babysit because we're blind. Fooey.
That's right. We're on live. We're gonna get this thing done one way or another. What's up to y'all?
What's up, everybody? What's up? It is 12 o'clock Central Time in the Louisiana area and 1 o'clock where she is. My name is Anthony Parker. I want to welcome you all. If you don't know where you are tuning in to Third Eye Visions, the hottest show that has been happening for almost 3.5 years. I'm trying to keep it rolling, man, but I need y'all support, man. Next year's coming up. I don't know if I'm going to be rolling like this, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all say y'all love me, but y'all don't be subscribing and sharing the show. I can't do it all, you know what I'm saying? But hey, it's nevertheless. Let me get off my soapbox. I have somebody who's gonna be talking to us about what she wants to do. She likes to, she wants to babysit kids. She wants to watch kids. We're gonna revisit this topic about blind people babysitting, but the topic that we have here today is they say that I can't babysit because I'm blind, and that's an outright lie. Today I will be speaking with Olivia. Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
Wait a minute. Wait one damn minute. Today I am speaking with Olivia, all the way from the I ain't gonna tell you where she is, but all the way from another part of the United States. She's excited to be here, ladies and gentlemen. She couldn't wait to be here, ladies and gentlemen. I am glad to have Olivia. Olivia, how you doing today?
I am good.
She is good and all stopped up and nasally and everything, but we're gonna get through the show. But meanwhile, look, man, look, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, right, Olivia?
Uh-huh.
And make sure make sure to hit the like button, and if you don't like it, say hit me that right there because it helps with the analytics. I'm trying to build this thing. I'm trying to push it to another level. So anyway, they say we can't babysit because we are blind. What you think about that? Just don't we ain't gonna go into the topic, but what's your opinion about that, Olivia?
Um, well, first I wanted to say that, I know we talked about this the other day, but I would encourage people and I've encouraged people to subscribe because I myself have already subscribed to your channel.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
I think that people saying that blind people can't babysit, I've had a lot of time to think about this, and I think it's totally not true.
You can say bullshit. Go ahead. It's totally bullshit, right?
Oh, it's I won't I won't use it,
I'll
but I don't think,
you give me
yes,
the
in
words that
essence
you
I
want.
would say it's complete bullshit. Yes.
Okay, there you go. So before we jump into
Um
that, we're gonna have
so
fun today, y'all. But look, before you jump into that, Olivia, and tell them what you feel and how pissed off you are about it, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, what you claim to do in the future, and what brought you to wanting to do what you do.
so my name is Olivia and I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I really consider myself, if anybody's a Harry Potter fan out there, a true Hufflepuff.
Okay. Okay, all right. I'm not, but still, I know they got some Hufflepuff fans out there. Um,
Yep.
what do you do?
I believe in um I believe in treating others with fairness, and I believe in treating everybody equally, and I would say that I also believe in giving everybody a chance because I believe everybody deserves a chance. And I think this is just who I am, but you know, I believe in everyone.
Okay. Well, you can believe in everyone, but sometimes people don't believe in you, especially as a blind person. See how I made that come back around full circle? Because they,
Yeah, I know, but
because
I
go ahead.
I said I know. I don't think it's going to stop me believing in everyone though.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so the topic they don't think that we can babysit because we're blind. Talk to us about that and how it makes you feel and what you and what are your plans? What prompted you to really want to focus on this? In order to bring enlighten some attention to it because this has already been discussed with the Breakfast Club and I discussed it then and I touched on it a little bit more so. But you can never get enough of touching on this particular topic because people really feel that you can't babysit because you can't see and whatnot. I'm living proof that they are telling a outright bullshit lie. But you talk to us. This is your show. Talk to us and let them know how you feel and what you aim to do and all this good stuff.
Sorry, I'm going to turn my speech off cuz
Okay, go ahead, go ahead. While she's doing that, we are speaking with. I am speaking with Olivia, and she's here to talk about why she feel that this was, the topic is just outright lie. There are individuals out there who are capable of watching or babysitting or mentoring or whatever blind kids, and we're here to just basically talk about it and shed some light on it. So you ready?
I am ready.
Go ahead, take it over. It's your show. I'm gonna be quiet.
So, okay. So, I think that we as blind people just want to be, well, not want to be, but we want to have happy and fulfilling lives. And, some of us, I think, are quite good with children. And I think that we bring, I think, well, not we bring, but I think we're unique. And that when we do babysit children, we have the potential to build more relationships with them because we can't be sitting just watching them. I remember
Hmm.
I was watching a 4-year-old one time and the parent said to him, "Oh, watch your brother, watch your baby brother." And he was like, "Olivia's watching him just fine."
Hmm.
And I think the issue so much isn't with kids, like young children. I think it's mostly with adults because by the time we're 6 years old,
Hmm.
um, our brain is 95% of the way developed,
Hmm.
and our perceptions of the world are usually shaped. But I think that people think of blindness and that you can't babysit because I think they think that you need sight to do that because you need sight to be able to change a diaper, you need sight to be able to fix a bottle. And I don't think those things are true. And, I am now working as a nursery worker um, at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, and I'm working with children who are ages 0 to 5. And it took me 6 months of looking to find that job. And I'm grateful, but I'm going to say, um, and I'm sorry to sound bitter or resentful here,
No,
but
this is you. Say what you feel. Just
but
let whatever.
I don't think it should take it made me upset and a little sad and disappointed that it took me 6 months to find this job because I think that we're in 2021. The ADA has passed 30 years ago, but yet we still have these issues, and it's not going to take just a law to to fight systemic inequality like this.
And I understand wholeheartedly. And I want to ask you, how does it make you feel the fact that it took you a while to find the job that you have been searching for, quote unquote, but then once you found that job, you were able, did you have first of all, did you have any problems watching individuals at this nursery? That's
I
question.
haven't had any problems. We have had a 2-year-old come in, and she took to me right away.
Mm.
And we play house next week because she's a fan of Frozen. I'm gonna bring in some crown shaped cookies that I plan to make, and we're gonna have an Anna and Elsa dance party.
Okay, that's great, and I love the interacting, and I know that we are capable as blind people to do that. Why do you think that people who are sighted, and there's some, I'm not gonna put them all in a bucket, that feel that because that you have to have sight uh, in order to babysit kids? Go further in terms of why do you think that they feel that way, in terms of, because some of them feel like, well, I'm not gonna say why. What some, I just want you to comment on that, then I'll come back.
Um, so I think this, it's interesting because I've been thinking about this. I think that they're scared themselves because they've been sighted all their
Mm.
lives, and they might be scared to think about, oh, if I were to go blind, would I be able to do certain things? I mean, we talk about blindness, and we have so for thousands of years, in terms of something to be feared. And it's awful if
Right.
you're blind. And so I think there's fear that comes with that. And then you know it's human nature, honestly, to kind of flock together. The saying, birds of a feather flock
Flock together.
together.
Uh huh. Hmm.
Yeah, i think that's I think that's what it stems from too. And I think that's really unfortunate. And I was thinking, like, we have social media and we can access any type of information with the touch of a button. But number one, is it accurate? Because a lot of the information about blind people, um, let's be honest, out there, is it very accurate? And I
That's
feel
true.
like
That's
to
true.
know it, to be concerned about issues of the blind community,
Mhm.
for a sighted person, you have to know somebody who's blind yourself. Because if you're sighted and you think about it, and been sighted all your life, you've been surrounded by sighted people, what are the odds that you're going to take time
Yeah,
to
just
know about issues of the blind community?
that is true, and that's why people are so, not educated to the fact. And then when you say, some, babysit my kid, they kind of like, oh my god, no, hell no, because you can't see and this like that. But sometimes, well, I'm gonna say with my situation, it's not even that. It's more, and I like what you said earlier. It's more in terms of you pay attention more, so you concentrate more, so because you can't see, so therefore you're gonna ask, you're gonna talk, you're gonna be verbal, you're gonna feel, you're gonna be in their presence more so, than if you were a sighted person, you on one side of the room and they're on the other side, they just look okay, he's okay. Comment on that, because I like what you said about that. You know what I'm talking about?
So I think it brought up another good point. Another issue, another topic that I wanted to touch on, which is, I don't know if you know who Eric Erickson was, but Eric Erickson was a psychologist, and he came up with 8 stages that we go through in our lives.
Mm.
Um, 8 stages that we go through in our lives to, I don't know if prosper is the right word, but 8 stages that we go through in our lives, and we experience a dilemma,
I like that.
and we can overcome that dilemma if we have the right support. And then we can talk about how we feel unconsciously. It talks about that. But one of the stages that Erickson talks about is, in the first year of life especially, trust versus mistrust.
Okay.
And so what trust versus mistrust is it's if your needs are being met by your caretaker, not just basic needs like food, shelter, and water, but emotional needs like hugs, love,
Mm.
picking a baby up when they're crying,
Mm.
you know if a baby wants to get down and they're starting walking, to put them down. um it's like that. And I think, as blind people, since we can't see, we have more of an opportunity to build those
That's right.
relationships And we have more of an opportunity um to foster those because we can't see. And if that baby's crying, I know my natural instinct is to just pick that baby is just to pick that baby up. And then as blind people, and this contributes hugely to the trust versus mistrust theory. But
That's right.
when we're born, um because we don't know anything about the world when we're born into it. We're just
Mm,
new, and it
that's
it,
right.
it could be it could be scary to us. And I think as blind people, we are more likely, especially for young children, especially for children ages 0 to 1, we're more likely to narrate, like, okay, mommy's going to pick you up, daddy's going to pick you up. And I think that helps children feel safer.
Yep. It definitely does. You sound like a psychologist when you broke it down in that particular fashion. But I want to digress and talk about the issue that really sparked a flame a couple of years ago, and I'm gonna bring it all back to circle in terms of when the Breakfast Club was talking about this particular topic in whatever fashion. The young lady was talking about wanting to take the kid out to the parks and things like that. Now that you know, in terms of me as a blind person, even if I were to have a blind person babysit my kid, I will be a little leery about that, and I want you to comment on that. I will be a leery about that. But if you're at a home and you know your home and your backyard and front yard and your home, up and down, in and out, I have no problems allowing you to babysit because I know that you know yourself and your home and your area and your environment, so there won't be a situation where my kid won't be in harm's way. Now, taking them out for in other areas, I kind of would have a little a little. I'll be kind of a little leery about that, and that's just with a sighted person or a blind person because so much is going on. Comment on about how you feel about that statement in terms of like break because they were talking about that babysitting your kid but taking them out to other areas that you as a blind person is not familiar with.
So I did a nanny shadow one time,
Hmm.
and I remember I had to take the 4-year-old outside because he needed to work off some extra energy. And so I got a ball, and
Hmm.
there was a field across from his house,
Hmm.
and I asked the mom and dad specifically, is it okay if I take your child out? Um and they said yes. And so I did. And what I did was I made sure I was right with him. Like I had games, like we played catch.
Hmm.
Like I remember we played one game called Ship Captain, where we were pretending to steer the boat and go to different destinations. So I like to make it fun so that they can run around and they can get out their energy. But I'm there too, and I know I know what they're doing. So
Right.
that's what we did. And I remember when we played Ship Captain, we pretended like we were going to Africa. We pretended like we were going to Asia. We pretended like we were going to all different parts of the world. And I remember he said, um, "Since you're blind, I will help you steer the ship."
Hmm. Sounds like more of an interacting type thing, but what about if so that instance or situation, you're in an area that you were familiar with, right?
That was the first time I'd ever gone to that area.
Okay. So do you feel as and it's cool to feel indifferent that you as a blind person, if you were to take a kid to a park as as a babysitter, that you would feel comfortable monitoring their whereabouts and what have you?
Yes, I can say I would.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to make it into an argumentative thing, and I admire your confidence and what have you. So, because that's what that was the main focus in what they were talking about. So, those individuals who are sighted and even you know or maybe visually impaired, speak to them and talk and explain to them how you feel or what they could do in order to feel more comfortable in order to believe that blind people can babysit. And then at some point, if you run into somebody who's visually impaired or blind and you know them very well, to allow them to babysit your kids.
Um, I think. Sorry, I kind of feel put on the spot, but
No, no, no. I mean, if I did, and that was not done intentionally. I mean,
oh,
just give them some advice in terms of say, hey, as a blind person, this is what this allow them to feel, say some things that can make them feel comfortable, because you're comfortable, as a blind person to babysit, so at ease other people's minds. What would you say to them?
um, so I think that's a loaded. I think that's a loaded question,
Okay, okay.
honestly,
Part
a
by
very
part.
loaded question.
Okay.
But I will break it down slowly. So, in terms of sighted people, it goes back to what I was saying about, we have social media, but a lot of sighted people aren't aware of the blind community. If you have small children and you're blind, I would just encourage you to get out more in your community. If it's taking walks,
Hmm.
maybe going to like a gym or the Y, or enrolling your child in like a gym daycare, and maybe you could connect with other parents there.
Hmm.
um I would say things like get involved, like I said, get involved in volunteering in your child's preschool, or there are preschools with children who have other types of disabilities, and you could go volunteer there. I'm sure you'd have to get a background check, but
Right.
I think it could be done.
Right.
And it wouldn't be paid experience, but it'd be something.
That is true, and I mean that allows you to get the experience to to understand that maybe one day if you may have encounter someone who is visually impaired and you need a babysitter, that hey, I've seen this person do XYZ, so I know I feel comfortable in that aspect. Does it piss you off when people say, oh, you're blind, you can't, you have no business babysitting, or you can't do it? The operative word is can't. You can't do it. Does that make you feel pissed off?
um you know I think, based on my experience, it wouldn't make me upset. um I am I'm a natural teacher,
Mm-hmm.
so I might ask them, why do you feel that way? And how do you think, if you have children, how do you think that your perception of blindness is going to impact your children's treatment of others who are different from themselves when they're an adult?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So, you know, I can understand why people would get angry, and they have a right to get angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all for expressing your emotions, because it's not healthy to bottle up. It's not healthy to bottle up that anger at all.
Mm-hmm.
But, for me, I don't think about it in I don't think about it in terms of anger.
Okay, tell me about how do you think about it?
Well, like I said, I'm a natural teacher, so I would want to know, why do you think that is? And I would want to know why you think that is. I know that everybody's minds aren't going to be changed, but if I can help one person realize the capability of blind people as child care providers, then I believe that's progress.
I like that. I like that because a lot of people need to be informed and know that we are. I mean, we're not trying to stick it in your face. Oh, I can babysit. Oh, I can do this. No, we're just letting you know, like, there are ways that you can be educated. And I understand that it's your child, and regardless if the person can see or not, you still gonna be a little, apprehensive because so much is going on. But if you know that person, if it's a friend of yours, and that person happens to be visually impaired, don't have any don't look at it as the fact that, oh, he or she can't see, so he can't babysit, or she can't babysit my child. I think, as I mentioned, I go back to saying this again, that blind people are more alert and aware. So I mean, and especially if you're dealing with somebody else's kid, as a parent, you're going to be very, assertive in anything that you do, so that you can be aware of that person's surroundings and what have you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. I know that. It's, when you were talking a little bit ago, it kind of reminded me of the nanny shadow position that I did a while ago. And I'm still in touch with the family.
Mhm.
Um because the mom and I met in a Facebook babysitting group.
Mhm.
Um but I remember she told me when I came to her house, the younger one, she's like, "Oh, he doesn't like people." But I remember, like, within 30 minutes, he was crawling to me and letting me pick him up.
See, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And 'cause, it's just you more. I mean, like I said, I had my babysit, but I had my son, when I raised him. I mean, I was like, wherever he went, I went. And those are the things that, because you don't have any sight, you sort of use other ways and means in order to be more alert and knowing where that kid is and what have you. So
Yeah.
it is possible. So as we come to a conclusion and sum this whole thing up, I hope that everyone has enjoyed this. Talk to the people, tell everybody, give them some more pointers, and let them know what's coming up for you and what you have, uh, what you're gonna do in the future.
Yeah, before we come to a conclusion, I have a few thoughts that I'd like to
Go ahead, share,
share.
share. No problem.
Um and we were talking about this the other day when I said I'd like to share them, that I'd like to contact the Breakfast Club. And some of the things that I want them to know are, I read up on it before we talked about it.
Mhm.
Um but I want them to know that, because they took down the tweet, and I remember they apologized, and I saw that. But
Uh huh.
I don't think that taking down the tweet and apologizing are enough,
Hmm.
because if you still hold those beliefs,
That's right.
and if you still teach those to your children, how are we going to address things? I think it goes beyond babysitting. How are we going to address things like the 70% unemployment gap in the blind community? I think it goes a lot deeper than parenting and babysitting. Um, because I think it transcends into people just, think that blind people are not capable,
Hmm.
and that isn't true. Um and I think that another thing I want to say
Hmm.
is that in terms of you know being blind, um disability can happen to anyone at
That's right.
any time.
That's right.
And so I want them to think in terms of, if they have children and their children end up having children, and one of their grandchildren is blind, how would that make them feel that they said those things about blind people years ago?
That's right.
And you know I think implicitly it advocates for blind parents having their children taken away just because they're blind. And we already know that the foster care system is overcrowded as it is. We already know from studies that have been done in developmental psychology that that children need secure attachments to thrive. Um, and that's based off of the Schaefer and Emerson experiment. I won't get too much into that. If any of you are interested in psychology, then by all means contact me. I could talk about psych all day, but it's I think it talks about the ways we as blind people are treated as caregivers, and for if the child is safe with the blind person, they should be they should be with the blind person, because they should end up in foster care. We know that foster care homes are overcrowded, and we know that there's abuse in there. So I think that I think that they're doing a disservice, because they're implicitly advocating that blind parents should have their children taken away. But I don't think they know anything about blind parents, because you can't say this for sure, but I made an inference, and I think my inference is pretty good, that they don't know any blind parents. And I saw what Kenyatta said, and she said that they'd taken the time to educate themselves about an individual who was transgender, but they didn't take the time to educate themselves about
Individuals
about
who
an
blind.
individual who is blind. Yeah, and I think it would be terrible if people saw this, because it circulated on social media, and I feel so bad for the young lady. And you know I want children of parents who are blind to be in safe, loving homes. And you shouldn't put a child in another home because their parent is blind. And that child shouldn't be in the foster system. And they have the right to be a part of their parent's life, and the parent has a right to be a part of the child's life. And we don't want them getting abused. But my fear is that if we put children in the foster system of blind and visually impaired parents, then we're putting them at, I think, greater risk of abuse without knowing it.
And that's a great point. And I like what you said, because all this in terms of babysitting, as I bring it full circle about blind people not being able to babysit, it could at some point create what you stated, a whole situation to where, if someone finds out that blind people or have parents, blind people who are parents have kids, can have them taken away. And I did a topic on that as well. We're going to touch on more on that in the future, but what you just laid out is grounds for some greater discussion at a later time and whatnot.
Yeah.
You did touch on a lot of things, and definitely let people be aware of the capabilities of blind people, and not just trying to throw it in their face. It's just doing it in the way that it's supposed to be done. So I want to thank you exactly from the bottom of my heart for coming on, because this is a subject that you can never talk about it enough.
No,
And
you can't.
anytime I get a chance to, any individuals who want to share their experiences or their ideas or their opinions about it are welcome to do so. So
Yeah. And Charlemagne the God had a book written a while ago, and I read part of it, because I like to read things and learn things. And his mom was an educator, so I'm pretty surprised. Part of me is pretty surprised. Part of me, I don't know if I am or not, but part of me is surprised that he has those beliefs, because he believes in learning from different people. And he talked about in his book how he liked to read the Ramona books, because they were about a girl who was different from him.
mhm,
And because of her skin tone, because
mhm,
of where she lived. And so I'm
you would
disappointed
think
in
that,
the
yeah.
way he's thinking, because if he talks about wanting to learn from other people, and being open-minded,
This was
this doesn't demonstrate being open-minded at all.
right, and this was a chance to. But I think I don't want to use the word ignorance, but I can't think of or anywhere at this point in time. But if people are ignorant to the fact that to where they are not educated and they don't know, and some of the things that they have seen about blindness has put a kind of a damper on the way people view individuals who are visually impaired or totally blind. And that's why I'm here to try to shed some light as much as I can, and you're here and others are here of the light to share information, and hopefully they grasp to it. But if not, then oh well, at least you've done your part. And that's why I'm very excited to at least have this channel and use it for this particular vessel. So with that being said, what's next for Miss Olivia?
Um,
Because you're very
so I'm going to complete my degree in early childhood ed in psych, and I want to in the future open my own comprehensive based daycare for children 0 to 5 with and without disabilities, because we have preschool programs for children with and without disabilities to be integrated, but we don't have anything where toddlers and babies who are um disabled or who are typically developing, and I don't like to use those words because I think we define normal under a very
right,
narrow concept.
right,
But um I want I want to open a daycare center that's play based and that is for children 0 to 5 with and without disabilities, because like I said, there are preschool programs for that, but there are not um there are not you know programs like this that include babies and toddlers. And I think it would help us as a society be more accepting. I don't like the word tolerant, because tolerant kind of, to me, it's like we're tolerant. It's kind of nonchalant, but accepting is
mhm,
kind of more, we use it in a more like, oh, I accept you, like you're here. And I
mhm,
think as human beings, we all want to belong, and our mission in life is to belong, and we're social creatures.
mhm,
So I think it would help bridge the gap between um disability education and you know unawareness of disability, because you know chill is when we're babies, Anthony. I learned to study about this, but we could we can be we can be bigoted because we prefer, even when it's 3 months old, we prefer to be around people who look like us, because that's who we're around.
right.
If
That's
if our parents are white, and we can see their faces, we're gonna want to be around
white people.
white people. Yeah. And I hate saying this, and I hate
No, don't
to
hate.
sound
Don't
rude.
apologize for what your feelings are. So say it.
It just I think I think it's the truth. And for I'm interested in how this affects us as the blind community.
Mhm,
um but I think that if from the time that children are very little, if we can expose them to different types of people, then the better we are. We talk about the 70% unemployment rate, pertaining to adults, but I don't think we talk about it enough in terms of, because the children today, they're going to grow up
mhm,
and they're going to be adults, and I don't think about how can we can teach children in small ways to set the standard higher for blind people. And then how, when they're older, to curb the 70% unemployment rate. I know it might seem like a lot, but we could do it. We could do it through simple activities. Like, we could say, if you see a child, if there's a child with if there's a person with a cane and your child asks, "Mommy, what's that for?" We shouldn't say, um
It's a
Oh,
stick or they
it's a sticker. Oh,
right,
don't talk about it. Don't
right,
talk about it, honey.
exactly,
That's rude. We should say, oh, this is called a cane. They use it. It's like their eyes. Like you can look in front of you with your eyes. They use the cane to feel what's in front of them, and
Ex-
then, and we can say they can do things like anybody else can do.
exactly.
Their eyes are just different from yours.
And
And I
and
and I
now go ahead.
huh?
And I was just saying, and then that's why it's important for us to educate them, and that's what we are intending on doing. So with that being said, one second, hold on. Yeah, with that being said, that's why I have the show, and that's why I brought you on so that you can educate everyone and
Yeah.
let them know what how things are going. But
Yeah.
so in essence, we finalized in our opinion that we can babysit. We're visually impaired. We're totally blind. Whatever the case may be, we definitely just I can't say well just give us a chance with your child, but just observe and understand and just read and check out shows that make sense to you that blind people put out and try to decipher the difference between some of the shows that are just over the board and some that are more real to you. And with that being said, do you have any final comments as I wrap the show up?
Um, I want to say, I want to say thank you, and to anybody that's blind or visually impaired and wanting to babysit. I just want to say that you can do it, and that if you're feeling any emotions, just let them out. But if you're feeling anger or sadness, just please let it out. Please let it out in a healthy way.
Okay. Well, thank you for that much. Let me hit the outro and I'll be back and talk with you. Thanks a lot, Olivia. Hold on. I will be back on the other side. And thank you all. Please share. Hit the like button if you like it. Please share it on Facebook. Like I said, if y'all not gonna share this thing, these important things that I put together, then hey, I'm gonna have to come to some conclusion. But hey, love y'all and hold on. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Let me see what my nephew was. Huh?